Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name's Chris and it's fantastic to have you back with us for another video. So today I'm going to have a look at what I believe is going to be the next big craze when it comes to NFTs. So back in the studio after my vlog earlier, do let me know in the comments below, did you like the vlog? Something a little bit different. It is good to get out of the studio from time to time. With that said, if you like this sort of content, mash that like button, subscribe, tap that bell, select all the notifications, and let's go and get down to the desktop. So Dapper Labs is the project that's sort of in the headlines at the moment. Now, I haven't researched this project just yet. It is a new startup. Matter of fact, it's a sports focused NFT startup that has recently raised $250 million, which is just crazy numbers when you consider how much they're actually valued at currently. So for me, sports NFTs are going to be the next big thing, right? And you will understand where I'm coming from when you get an understanding of how much money is going into these sorts of protocols, right? It's an awful lot of money, and if you follow the money, you can't tend to go wrong. So let's sort of get into this particular one, right? So they're serious business of fun and games on the blockchain. No jargon, or nonsense, just good fun is how they're sort of labeling it. They've got some fantastic partnerships and more coming when you consider the likes of UFC getting on board as well. So sports focused NFT startups raised over $900 million in what is being dubbed a crypto gold rush, right? So Dapper Labs, a startup behind digital basketball trading card platform NBA Top Shots, I always struggle to say that, is now valued at, and get this, valued at $7.6 billion following a $200 million funding round. That is just unbelievable valuation for this company already. 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗧𝗕, a French fantasy soccer game that incorporates NFTs, raised another 680 million in a round led by SoftBank, which now values the company at $4.3 billion. So it's interesting. We're starting to see this happen more and more when it comes to these startups, and for me it's really interesting, and I do think that the sports aspect, I've mentioned this with the likes of Chili's, being one that I regret not getting into early. I do think that these sort of protocols are going to be less subject to pullbacks and bear markets than any other protocol. I think this and gaming are probably the two where I think they're going to have the least amount of pullbacks, because people play games and watch sport all year round. So for me, I do expect these to do remarkably well, and I don't expect to see big pullbacks unless they become very overvalued in the hype and people FOMO in the bull market. That is the only risk and caveat to what I'm saying here. So let's dig into this a little bit more. So two startups in the red hot NFT market raised a combined $930 million this week, highlighting continued appetite from investors for cryptocurrency companies as the industry experiences massive growth. Now, I have talked about this several times on the channel. Blockchain technology is growing at the fastest rate in history of any technology, and we'll show you some charts in a moment that sort of articulates this growth, right? Because it is immense when you see it in the chart, right? Dapper Labs, which makes virtual basketball trading cards, said on Wednesday that it had raised $250 million in a funding round led by 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘, the investment firm run by former Wall Street analyst 𝗕𝗪𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘. So really interesting. I believe that GIC were also involved, which is a wealth fund. The new round values the Vancouver, Canada-based firm at $7.6 billion, according to a person familiar with the matter who wants to remain anonymous because the information isn't public knowledge. So 𝗖𝗓, a French fantasy soccer game that incorporates NFTs, announced on Tuesday that it bagged 680 million in a bumper cash injection led by SoftBank. So that's really interesting. French soccer star Griezmann and former English player 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘 are also both investors in 𝗖𝗓. The investment gives 𝗖𝗓 a valuation of $4.3 billion, the company said, making it by far the most valuable private tech firm in France and one of the largest startups in Europe. So I know what some of you are thinking. You're new to crypto. What are NFTs? So they are non-fungible tokens, and this is a fast-growing phenomenon in the crypto industry. And basically it represents ownership of a virtual item. So this could be, for an example, and the easiest example would be a work of art. So, you know, the ownership is tracked on the blockchain, a digital ledger of transactions. So, you know, it's really interesting. And what I will do, well, what I'll try to do now is, well, I will try to get you the chart that I was talking about. So here's the chart, and you know, if we kind of look at the massive growth here, so 2020, you know, the global venture capital activity in crypto and blockchain startups was just at $6.4 billion. 2021 is 19 billion, right? Like that's just, you know, huge growth. And I think it's a really good illustration of, you know, the growth that we're seeing in this particular industry, right? And you know, this is still just the beginning. So several sports organizations are turning to NFTs and other crypto assets as a way of making additional revenue. And we all know that, you know, with the pandemic and everything, that some of these sports teams have had stadiums that, you know, have had no individuals or fans watching the games, which is a huge revenue you know, provider for these clubs. And you know, so they do need other means of recouping some of that lost revenue. So we've seen English Premier League club Man City, for example, they have launched 2 collections of NFTs. Meanwhile, a number of soccer clubs have launched fan tokens, which we talked about on the channel several times. You know, the likes of Chili's, Dapper Labs, NBA Top Shots platform lets users trade and collect baseball match highlights in the form of NFTs. The highlights, or moments as they're dubbed, are licensed by the NBA, which reserves royalties on each transaction. So, you know, it is an interesting sort of take on NFTs, and you know, I do like the fact that you can own a moment in sporting history. You know, could you imagine if you had that back in the World Cup, like 1966 for England, for example, you know, owning that moment, you know, where they lift the World Cup for the first time? It would just be immense, right? And it would be very, very valuable. So, you know, let me know what your thoughts are on, you know, the sports aspect of NFTs. Do you think this is the next big craze? I'm just looking at the amount of money that is being invested in these companies, and you know, it's mind-boggling sums of money. And I think, you know, you've got to follow where that money is going, right? And you're starting to see exchanges like crypto.com sponsoring UFC, Formula One. I mean, we're going to Silverstone for a track day with Aston Martin tomorrow. You know, and this is a fantastic way to get more adoption for cryptocurrency. So, you know, I think this is something that's going to continue. I think this is something that's going to grow, and I think it's going to look very, very different as a business model in the next sort of year or two. And crypto is moving so fast, so it could easily look different in 1 or 2 years time. But let me know in the comments below, what are your thoughts? Are you investing in any sports focused NFT platforms? If so, let me know which ones you're looking at, which ones you think are going to do remarkably well. Really interested to know. If you like this sort of content, mash that like button, subscribe, tap that bell, select all the notifications so you never miss awesome content, and I'll catch you in the next one.